In 1971, Richard Nixon signed the Peasant Reduction Act, in which just people described in the U.S. Constitution are subhuman with no political existence, rights, and voice. In 2010, 5 corporation lawyers ruled that corporations and people can spend any amount of money to influence the outcome of American elections. Don from Largo.com, 2 o'clock on Thursdays. Something's wrong. I wonder what it is. Let's have a constitutional republic.
It was raining hard in Frisco. I needed one more fare to make my night. A lady up ahead waved to flag me down. She got in at the light. Oh, where you going to, my lady blue? It's a shame you ruined your gown in the rain. She just looked out the window. She said, 16 Parkside Lane. Something about her was familiar. I could swear I seen her face before. But she said, I'm sure you're mistaken. And she didn't say anything more. It took a while, but she looked in the mirror. Then she glanced at the license for my name. A smile seemed to come to her slowly. It was a sad smile just the same. And she said, how are you, Harry? I said, how are you, Sue? Through the too many miles and the too little smiles, I still remember you. It was somewhere in a fairy tale. I used to take her home in my car. We learned about love in the back of a Dodge. The lesson hadn't gone too far. You see, she was gonna be an actress, and I was gonna learn to fly. She took off to find the footlights. I took off to find the sky. Whoa, I've got something inside me to drive the princess blind. There's a wild man wizard, he's hiding in me, illuminating my mind.
Oh, they're bringing stuff in. Yeah, they're bringing stuff in.
Can I talk now? So this is Don from Largo.com. I'm broadcasting from Joe D's Bar in Garden City, Michigan. Sometimes I get emotional. I don't know when it's coming. And that taxi song kind of makes me emotional. I run a ride-share car, and I like to make $100 my share after gas, and he's running to make his fare, you know, his goal. And sometimes it takes me 6 hours. Sometimes it takes me 8 hours. Sometimes I have to sit and wait. Sometimes they're giving me runs before I drop another one off. I have to provide my car, an insurance policy, my telephone, and my gas. And then they take about a third of what the customer books. Sometimes I think they take a half. That's not my business. I don't want to say what company I drive for because it's working for me. I have a fixed income, and it gives me enough money to pay for my groceries and breathe easier. The air conditioner and the heat pump is giving out in my manufactured home, and probably have to come up with $2,000 for that. I don't really have, but I had money, income tax taken out of my Social Security last year, and I get most of what I had taken out back. So that's all. The reason I buy this time is to say that the federal election law of 1971 is wrong. I call it the Peasant Reduction Act. The Nixon signed it into law, and what it says is that people who are described in the Constitution do not exist unless they can prove ability to buy Rupert Murdoch, Fox News, USA Today, and that. Unless you can prove that you can buy the big-time providers, the big-time cartels, like Ronald Reagan gave Rupert Murdoch the right to dominate both print and audio and video media in the New York market. Now, the New York Post is definitely an anti-democratic organization, and both Rupert Murdoch and USA Today Gannett are violently, or they're very hostile to labor. I'm a machinist retiree at Northwest Airlines, and my wife was first woman skilled trade at UAW Ford Wayne Assembly. So I'm in Garden City now, delivering a new pickup truck from Walker Ford in Clearwater for my son-in-law, and I've been told that I'm banned from Walker Ford by the sales manager and their bouncer. I think it has something to do with the fact that I went through Sean Hargett, their internet salesperson, instead of giving my commission on my 2021 Ford Escape to the sales manager. I'm getting an echo in my phone. It's very difficult to not know what I'm saying because I'm getting feedback on my own voice. So that's basically why I buy this time. In 1971, when Nixon signed the Peasant Reduction Act, it was justifiable to say that you had to have a certain amount of money to buy media time, newspaper, radio, or television in all 48 states, or at least enough of the 48 states that will give you the electoral victory. Now, we've got Donald Trump, the greatest loser ever to be appointed president by the Federal Election Commission, not the Federal Election Commission, the Electoral College. He lost by a greater majority than any other president who ever lost an election and was appointed president. And he loves Vladimir Putin. I think this is only a theory that Donald Trump went bankrupt 4 times, and Donald Hackett probably needs to go bankrupt right now. But so when he went bankrupt, and no U.S. lenders would lend him money to get his incompetent non-business butt out of debt, and shaft the contractors, everything he had to do. I think he probably went to the Russian oligarchs for backing, and that's why he says he loves Putin, even though at the time Trump was president, Trump had invaded Crimea. So if Donald Trump, the bad businessman who had to go to the international community for financing, would say, Vladimir Putin, you are a war criminal. You invaded Crimea. and you invaded that other country, the big one that they're fighting all about now, that could involve a third world war, and China might be talking to Putin, saying, "Look, if you can invade a country, two countries, and take over, we can invade that little island off the China coast." And so I don't know. It's just I don't understand. The older I get, the more I don't understand. But I understand one thing, that the federal election law, now that the internet has matured, is no longer necessary. We no longer need to say that human beings, human individuals who struggle to get through from payday to payday, are not incorporated, don't have a big pile of money, need to be treated as subhuman. We no longer need to be jailed. We no longer need to be sent to psychiatric prison by Republican Sheriff Jim Coates because we filed an amicus brief with the United States Supreme Court in the matter of Citizens United. In the Citizens United ruling, on top of Richard Nixon saying that just people are subhuman with no political existence, rights, and voice, the five Republican corporation lawyers on the U.S. Supreme Court said corporations are people and can spend any amount of money to influence the outcome of American elections. I think it's a bad idea. And now that the internet's matured, we wouldn't have to automatically jail and deem people mentally not sane if we advocate constitutional republic. I spent overnight in jail, and then this Dr. Corso, the psychiatrist at the Dangerous Criminal Baker Act place, the next morning asked me, "What's 09-14477-E?" It's on. He had my website down from Largo open on his desk. And I said, that's the number given by the District Court of Appeals in Atlanta regarding my amicus brief filed in the Citizens United ruling. Just 3 days ago, this has happened on January 24th, 2010, these corporation lawyers have determined that corporations have rights and people don't. Now you tell me that the only reason I was sent to psychiatric prison by the Republican sheriff is that I filed the amicus brief asking that the Constitution be looked at. It's no longer necessary to say, what's your money pile? Can you give millions of dollars to USA Today Gannett, a definite violent organization that after Newt Gingrich declared the Republican Revolution in 1994, and then in 1995, USA Today Gannett, doing business as Detroit newspapers, waged war against the American people. Gannett gave millions of dollars, $40 million, to Republican Governor John Engler so that the police could club and gas people on the picket lines and destroy the labor unions. Unionized police, also known as jackbooted thugs by the National Rifle Association, are there being paid by Gannett to club, gas, electroshock, use chemical warfare against American citizens. Unionized police, in conjunction with the declared revolution, with bribes given to Republican Governor John Engler, beating, clubbing, gassing, electroshocking American citizens to destroy their unions. I'm a little prejudiced on behalf of labor unions because I have a small pension from Northwest Airlines for 10-year vested pension. My wife was the first woman skilled trade at United Auto Workers Wayne Assembly. She was a tool maker. So I get a little pension as a survivor. And that's the only thing I really have to say. But as far as whether I'm going to keep doing this, I've paid up on this radio airtime till next Thursday, and the business line stopped answering their phone, so I can't talk about it with Lola to see whether I should renew or not. I could use more money if I want to. If anybody has the idea or can join me in the idea that we no longer need to have a subhuman class of people. 63% of the people who struggle to get through from payday don't have a union. The banks have a big union. I'm talking about lobbyists. The banks can spend any amount of money to influence the American elections or influence American policy in terms of making it right for them. I'm talking about MasterCard and Visa, for example. 20% interest, 26% interest, miss a payment, you go to 26% interest. And the wages that people are paid don't pay the bills. Now we have a new class of ownership, new class of landlord ownership, who's buying up property at rates that they're paying more than the listed value, so that then they can rent the property out at rates that people can't afford. One of the people that rode in my car told me that she and her roommate were paying $2,000 a month rent. She's working at Walmart in a chicken restaurant. She's working 2 jobs to pull up $1,000 a month, her share of the rent. That's ridiculous. And in Florida, where I live, it's happening all over the place. It used to be you could go to Florida, find a house, concrete block house with a shingle or tile roof for a lot less than up north. But now the landlord class, they say it's BlackRock by different names, is buying up all these properties. Also, we know that the insurance companies are guaranteed a profit because they have a union, a lobby in Washington, D.C. We know that Big Pharma has a union, a lobby in Washington, D.C. to make sure that they can charge Medicare outrageous amounts of money for prescription drugs. And we know that Big Oil has a union, lobbyists in Washington, to make sure that the big oil companies can charge $3.50 per gallon for gasoline and make enormous profits at the expense of people, the 63% of the population who struggle to get through from payday to payday and are automatically not represented as candidates, not recognized as candidates. So I haven't declared yet this federal election cycle as a candidate for president of the United States, but I have every other election cycle since the spring of 1987. The thing is, it's working for me. With this little bit of driver for a rideshare service, I can make enough money to buy my groceries, and I could have a girlfriend if they weren't also darn needy. You know, there's just a lot of need. And there's a lot of need for doing drugs, and there's not a doing drugs and not a need for doing alcohol, and people want support to enable them on their journey in that direction. And I'm learning that I can't fix people. And play that Lonely Boy thing, Mr. Bobby. You got that Lonely Boy song? Play that.
I'm just a lonely boy, lonely and blue. I'm all alone with nothing to do. I've got everything you could think of, but all I want is someone to love. Someone, yes, someone to love. Someone to kiss. Someone to hold. At a moment like this, I'd like to hear each night and day. I'm just a lonely boy, lonely and blue. I'm all alone with nothing to do. I got everything you would think of, but all I want is someone to love. Somebody, 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 please send her to me. I'll make her happy. Just wait and see. I prayed so hard to the heavens above that I might find someone to love. I'm just a lonely boy, lonely and blue. I'm all alone, with nothing to do. I've got everything.
So that's it. I'm lonely for the company of a woman, but here I am in Michigan, where I have 3 children, about 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 or 9 grandkids, 3 great grandkids, and I'm here till Saturday after delivering this pickup truck. I'd kind of like to have a fire in my daughter's backyard, and then we were supposed to walk the Detroit riverfront tomorrow and go to some fancy bookstore where she's looking for a special used book, and then we're going to head for the Lafayette, Coney Island. If she lets me, I might run by channel 4, 2, 4, or 7 and say, do they have the infomercial that was broadcast after I was arrested on the Detroit News picket line? Shows police beating, clubbing, gassing, electroshocking people on the Union picket line, unionized cops paid by Governor Engler with bribes to club and gas labor unions out of existence at the Detroit News and the Detroit Free Press, doing business as Detroit newspapers. Now, if I had millions of dollars to give to Free Press and News, or give millions of dollars to give to Rupert Murdoch and Fox News, they could say, well, you're definitely a candidate. And if you have that much money, you can find somebody to be on your campaign committee, also known as corporation. But corporations and multi-million-dollar bribe-taking political parties are not described in the founding documents. So I don't know. I have this van that speaks to all of these issues that I have about no political existence, and I might sell it, because I'm doing okay. I have enough Social Security and pension income. With a little ride share driving, I can pay my groceries bills and help some female who's not totally needy or needing to do drugs or alcohol, or lonely boy. Well, lonely boy. I'm just a lonely boy, lonely and blue. Okay, the other thing I wanted to address was this telemarketing thing. Does anybody else have a problem with telemarketers? The call-in number is 727-441-3000. 727-441-3000. The problem is that I get like 8 or 9 or 10 telemarketing calls a day, and I say to them, they always start out with, "How are you?" And I say, "Well, I'm talking to a telemarketer. You're on a do not call number. I believe you're a criminal. You ought to go to jail, and you bother me. You're harassing me. Leave me alone." Now I'm getting these calls that say somebody's charged $1,000 or $2,000 for some computer on my Amazon account. I don't have an Amazon account. But if someone wants to and they drain my Social Security the day it comes, I'm a hurting son of a gun. I'm a really hurting son of a gun because I'm just trying to build up enough money to call the air conditioning guys to see if my heat pump, air conditioner, heat, one unit on my manufactured home needs replacement. They've been telling me that for about 3 or 4 years. But before I come north in Michigan on May 15th, I want to know that the air conditioner is going to be, say, holding at, say, 82 degrees, keep mold from building on the inside of my house. So I don't know. Telemarketers at 727-441-3000. Does anybody know how to get telemarketers off your back? 727-441-3000. Does anyone believe that it's wrong to hold just people in contempt? That the federal government has a law that says just people don't exist. And it's called the Federal Election Law in 1971. It was true in 1971 when they established the law that you would have to reach enough people with the media, with TV and radio and newspapers in all of the major markets that you need to win, or in Trump's case, you need to lose and be appointed. And so there's a number of issues that I'd like to address. Let's look in Article 2, Section 1, 5th paragraph, where it says over 35, natural-born citizen. I would like to see that qualification mentioned as a qualification for a candidate to run for federal office. I asked the U.S. Supreme Court to recognize that in the Citizens United matter. It was a very simple amicus brief. It was 5 pages, but the first page said it all. And I mailed it to the Solicitor General and the Supreme Court in general. And then I filed it with the U.S. District Court of Appeals in Atlanta and the Tampa Federal Court in Tampa, and I paid a $442 filing fee. So they didn't. These 5 Republican corporation lawyers on the Supreme Court absolutely did not look in the Constitution. They absolutely have no idea of making the majority of the population, the 63% who struggle to get through from payday to payday, have political existence. So I don't know. I say the same thing over and over again, but I am worried about the telemarketer things. I have a friend named Randy in Minnesota. He says that I sent him a message that said something about a $50,000 investment, and then somebody's using my ID on Facebook and Messenger to send him messages or talk to him. So I didn't tell him to invest in any $50,000 scam. He says he gave up too much of his personal information to this third party, and now he's wondering, what does it mean? Like I wonder what it means when somebody says to me, a tape recording probably says $2,000 has been charged on your Amazon account. If you want to protest it, press 2. If you accept it, press 1. But there is no Amazon account in the name of Don Hackett Jr. And somebody is using my Facebook and Messenger and sending messages to my friend Randy, and a woman named Jessica in the Philippines also sees that. So I don't know. It's a scam. I was just cleaning out my wife died 4 years and 10 months ago, and I was cleaning out some of her papers, and she was hooked on this 876 Jamaica scam, where people from Jamaica call you up and say, say you've won millions of dollars, send us $3,000 for processing fees. And she thought when she died, she still thought that she could get $16 million if she sent them more money. You can't tell people what's real. The post office inspectors were in our house twice with telling her and giving her literature saying that I'm not sure what the area code is, but 876 or 476 area code for Jamaica. Then they'd have you send money to these drop sites in the United States. So, and there was an article in Consumer Reports saying that the Jamaica scammers were the most ruthless. They take the last 50 cents of somebody and use it for nothing, for their own personal benefit. So let's see. What are some of the other things that I'm concerned about? Finding a woman isn't totally needy. Getting the telemarketers off my back, and changing the federal election law of 1971 so that it has something to do with the United States Constitution. There's no longer a need to say that Rupert Murdoch and a media cartel and USA Today, another media cartel. There's no longer a need to say that you have to give millions of dollars to these media cartels. Rupert Murdoch's worse than the Mexican drug cartels. Look at the front page of the Washington Post, and now he owns the Wall Street Journal and lots of television stations. Ronald Reagan made him a naturalized citizen. Before that time, they didn't want the same person to control both the print and the electronic media. And Ronald Reagan got him to be a naturalized citizen and said, Rupert, you need to distort things and create an image for me such that the corporations have rights and people don't. And that's what those 5 Republican corporation lawyers on the U.S. Supreme Court did. And that's what Sheriff Tim Coates did to me, because I filed the amicus brief that said, look in the U.S. Constitution, say what it says. I must be nuts, mentally ill. And so that's the second time I was arrested. I was arrested on a Detroit News picket line for standing up to the Nazis. I call it a Fourth Reich, top dollar Fourth Reich. It doesn't have to be that way anymore. We could have a constitutional republic, not a top dollar Fourth Reich. Third Reich was master race. Fourth Reich is master money. There's no longer a need to say that we don't exist. Now they're playing the music in the bar. That's going to be a problem in my phone. Besides the echo I'm getting, I've got a pool table here, and I'm going to be shooting pool after I'm done. I'm drinking a Budweiser Zero, and I used to drink and smoke reefer when it was not legal. And a good day in those days was a quart of beer between my legs and three joints in the ashtray. And I was working on the ground crew at Northwest Airlines, and you could get reefer from 3 different continents: Colombian, Mexican, homegrown, and Thai stick could be bought regularly. When I was deputy clerk of the circuit court, three of us moved the entire court system from downtown Clearwater to new places out on 49th Street. All the court records, all the court computers, all the court desks. Then we completed it in record time. We bought a 6-pack of beer at a quarter bar across from the courthouse, and we drank it in a company truck, a county truck going out to 49th Street. We assembled about 20 rows of 10-foot high shelves with thousands and thousands of paper files. Back in 1982, paper files were important, but not so much anymore. Now you can go to the courthouse and say, give me the $8,000 judgment that that Bank of America has against me. I was fired by the Tampa Bay Times because I asked for a family medical leave from my immediate supervisor. She okayed it. I asked in writing, and then they fired me 3 days later. I don't blame my immediate supervisor, except perhaps she didn't report that I had asked for family medical leave in writing. And they viewed it as AWOL for 3 days. And then I went to Sebastian, the Berman Law in St. Pete. He called Sebastian Dorch, the director of human resources at the Tampa Bay Times. They hired me back with back pay and said that we signed a document that says my employment would be continuous. And then this guy named Joe McGee, I'll just say Joe McGee, said, "Well, we got to have you get a new DOT physical to drive these tractor trailers," and there was no need for it because the director of human resources, Sebastian Dorch, had said your employment will be continuous, and we signed documents to that effect. And Joe McGee said, "How dare you go above my head to try to get justice for yourself? You're fired again." So I don't know. So I went back with him on to June 1st of 2018, after my wife died on May 21st of 2018. I said, "I no longer need the family medical leave. My wife is deceased." And he says, "Well, we don't need your kind of people here who do things right, ask for family medical leave, and get an agreement by the director of human resources. It was just wrong. I should have went stronger back to Berman Law. I went to Berman Law's secretary and told her the situation, but I should have went there in person and confronted Berman himself. So I don't know. Things drip on. The people who had the trust for my wife's children died, and then his second in command, another lawyer, who doesn't want to deal with only $82,000. It's not enough money for him. I don't get all of that, but I get part of that as an elective share. I'm about $40,000 in debt that I stopped paying when they fired me at the Tampa Bay Times. When they fired me at the Tampa Bay Times, I stopped paying my credit card debt. I was paying all the monthly bills. These are all personal stuff, like being a lonely boy, like making enough money to live on driving the new kind of ride share, like telemarketers calling me all day, like Donald Trump refusing to call out what's his name, Putin. Donald Trump needs to call out Putin, and I think it's because the oligarchs own Donald Trump. That's where he went to get money when he was a failed businessman 4 times. 4 times. Then when he was president of the United States, he made sure the Secret Service stayed in his houses, his rent. He made sure that the United States Air Force landed near his hotel in Scotland, so that we'd have to pay retail for fuel in Scotland, and the crew would have to stay at his hotel in Scotland. He took out $40 million from the American Treasury to make sure he made a profit on that deal. They say he lied 231,000 times. And after a while, they stopped counting because of all those things. Everything that came out of his mouth was Donald Trump's self-interest and another group of lies. And when he is asked, how much money are you worth? Where's your money sourced? He said, it's none of your damn business. No other president has ever said it's none of your darn business. I won't tell you how much money I have. I don't know how to tell you where it comes from. We've always thought that the American president should be clean on his record. So that's it. Donald Trump, come clean. Stand up to Putin. Say, give back Crimea. I'm blanking on the name of that country that we're involved in. It's 727 Ukraine. Yeah. Get out of Ukraine, get out of Crimea, pay for rebuilding of Ukraine, pay for the weapons that the United States has provided Ukraine. Donald Trump, get out of Putin's butt. Stop French kissing Vladimir Putin. Donald Trump, stand up and say, you are a war criminal. You have murdered millions of people, thousands of people. You've caused thousands of people to be displaced. Pay for the rebuilding and repatriation of the Ukraine and Crimea. Give it back, Vladimir Putin, and just hope that China and Russia don't form a new axis of evil. And China can't say to itself, we can invade that island nation off of our coast because Vladimir Putin got away with it. We'll have a new class of Nazis like the Italians and the Germans and the Japanese. We can invade, we can conquer, we can enslave, make Putin pay. Donald Trump asked Putin to pay. Recognize, get your face out of Putin's butt. Donald Trump, stand up and say, Putin, you are a killer. You are a mass murderer. Get out of Ukraine and Crimea. Pay for the rebuilding, even if it takes oligarch money, because we're not dealing with Russia, a communist country. We're dealing with Russia and oligarchy, and the United States is an oligarchy. And I'm looking at the bar clock. It's they make it faster at a bar clock. I'm at the Joe D's bar here in Garden City, Michigan. I just delivered a pickup truck for my son-in-law, Stan Chapman. He bought it at Walker Ford down there in Clearwater. I guess I got him my Ford discount because my wife was the first woman toolmaker at Ford Wayne Assembly Plant, local 900 United Auto Workers. So, I don't know. I'm a lonely boy. I'm looking for a woman who's not too needy, who isn't too into drugs and alcohol. And I don't like the telemarketers calling. I don't know how to stop them. They've got 3 telemarketing calls while I've been on this line. It says potential scam. It's all AFU. That's French for all fudged up. You know, the idea that I was fired for asking for family medical relief, the idea that I've been rated subhuman by the federal election law of 1971 since 1987. I've declared for president of the United States every election cycle since the spring of 1987. My name is Don Hackett Jr. My website is donfromlargo.com. You can look it up, and I protest the idea that people described in the Constitution are rated subhuman according to the federal election law of 1971. On a good day, I diet and exercise. On a majority of the days, I procrastinate. But now I'm at this cheap pool table at Joe D's bar, drinking a Budweiser Zero, and I'm about to shoot a couple games of pool or a couple racks of pool by myself if nobody wants to play. And then I'll take that car back to Inkster where Stan lives, and around 5, and maybe walk the riverfront in Detroit and eat a Lafayette hot dog in downtown Detroit and find this used bookstore that my daughter wants to find a book. So that's all. Same idea. Talking about internet fraud. Somebody's using my name, my Facebook, and my Messenger, and my messages to send false messages to my friend Randy in Minnesota. and somebody named Jessica in the Philippines is involved in it, has knowledge of it also. I'm really sensitive to being frauded because the internet is good and it's bad, and we never know what's real. No longer can you listen to the TV or listen to the radio and get any idea about what really is. You just don't know. There's too much twisted, perverted, upside down, wrong, backward stuff coming out of everybody's mouth on every issue. I would kind of like them to see them put the handcuffs on Trump, but I'd like to have Trump stand up to Putin, like he should have done when he was having, kissing French kisses with him in private, coming out and say, "This is the greatest man I've ever known in my life. He's a simple, honest man." And because he invaded Crimea, that makes him a better man. I think it's because Trump is indebted to the Russian oligarchs to get his bad business out of trouble. He bankrupted 4 times. I need to bankrupt. I stopped paying on my monthly bills for the credit cards when I aspired at the Tampa Bay Times for asking for family medical leave and writing and having it approved by my immediate supervisor. And now I'm like $40,000. I stopped paying my bills, but I was paying the household bills where I live. I don't know. It's the older I get, the more I don't know. Okay, Bobby, the production manager there, sitting in the studio at Tan Talk 106.1 FM in Clearwater, Florida, is going to play a song called "Dream the Impossible Dream" at the end of the show. Yeah, I see that. It's AFU. It's a minority government run by MasterCard and Visa, insurance companies, big pharmaceuticals, big oil, and a new class of landlords that's buying up property and making rent impossible for the majority of the people. My website is donfromlargo.com, justpeopleare.com, or www.subhuman.us. Put some money in an envelope, say who you are, where you live, what you do, how do you get your money. That's something that the federal election law of 1971 requires, and it has to be less than $2,600. I would like to keep Constitutional Republic on the air. We don't need 2 multi-million-dollar bribe-taking private corporations, the Republican and Democrat Party, determine in advance that the majority of the population, 63% of the population broke by payday, do not exist and can't have political voice unless we give millions of dollars to Rupert Murdoch, a person naturalized by Ronald Reagan and given ability to control both print and electronic media so that he could be appointed elected president, or give millions of dollars to USA Today Gannett, place that I was arrested for standing up to these violent Nazi stormtroopers. Top dollar, Fourth Reich. Third Reich was master race. Fourth Reich is master money. The main idea of the Fourth Reich is that the majority of the population, human individuals described in Article 2, Section 1, 5th paragraph, do not exist. That's what my purpose is. But life is working for me. I have enough pensions and enough ride money. If I don't find needy women, I'm looking for love. Looking for love in all the wrong places. I'll have to think of that song next time, Bobby. But he's going to play Dream the Impossible Dream, and that's my impossible dream. First of all, keeping people from getting frauded, like my friend Randy. I like in my lonely boy situation. Even though I have a big family who loves me, I still have the. Well, I should just give up. You know, I'm an old guy in remarkably good physical shape. Got all my hair mostly the right color, and I'm making enough money with the rideshare stuff to pay my grocery bills and maybe get a little ahead so I can get a new heater or air conditioner. That's seems to be going out. And I've run out of things to say. Say the same thing over and over again. And I'm here from 2:06 to 3 p.m. next Thursday. I only have next Thursday paid for. If anybody cares enough, look up my website, donfromlargo.com. Send money less than $2,600 to keep me on the air. And I have not decided yet to pay another group of money to do it. And I'd like to say, Jesus Christ, God bless. But I also found this great spirit prayer that talks to that great spirit issue about appreciating nature in all of the places that we see nature.
To dream the impossible dream, to fight the unbeatable foe, to bear with unbearable sorrow, to run where the brave dare not go, to right the unrightable wrong, to be better far than you are, to try when your arms are too weary, to reach the unreachable star. Oh, this is my quest, to follow that star, no matter how hopeless, no matter how far, to fight for the right without question or pause, to be willing to march into hell for a heavenly cause. And I know if I'll only be true to this glorious quest, and my heart will lie peaceful and calm when I'm laid to my rest. And the world will be better for this, that one man, scorned and covered with scars, still strove with his last ounce of courage to reach the unreachable star. And the world will be better for this. Oh, that one man, scorned and covered with scars, he still strove with his last ounce of courage to reach the unreachable star.
WTAN, Clearwater.
FM 106.1.
WDCF, Dade City.
FM 102.3.
WZHR, Zephyrhills.
FM 104.3.
Listen.
You're listening to the Tan Talk Radio Network.
This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by Staples.
I'm Stacey Lynn in Washington. Should TikTok be banned? These Maryland teens clearly say no.
I don't know why they'd be banning TikTok. Like, it honestly is such a fun app, and I love it.
A healthy amount can really teach you a lot of things. I've learned a lot of things from TikTok.
It's so stupid. China's not spying on us, and I love TikTok.
But lawmakers on Capitol Hill are airing concerns the popular app could be used by the Chinese government to spy on us.
Chairwoman Kathy McMorris Rogers put it this way.
Your platform should be banned.
But CEO Shouzi Chu defended the platform and pledged improvements to alleviate the committee's concerns.
TikTok will remain a place for free expression and will not be manipulated by any government.
He also pledged transparency. Linda Kenyon, CBS News, Washington.
Meantime, a whole lot of books were banned last year.
In 2022, the nation's public schools and libraries faced demands to censor books more than any time in the last 2 decades. More than 2,500 books were targeted, a 38% increase from 2021. Deborah Caldwell-Stone is with the American Library Association.
We're seeing organized political groups go to school boards and library boards to demand the removal of hundreds of books at a time.
Most of the targeted books were about or written by people of color or members of the LGBT2 community. Steve Futterman, CBS News.
The CDC says autism screening is continuing to get better. Here's CBS's Alexander Tin.
The agency says the share of Black, Hispanic, and Asian 8-year-olds identified with autism is now larger than autism's prevalence among white 8-year-olds. That's a change agency officials think is likely the result of improved awareness and screening services for autism and other developmental disabilities.
Our Robert Costa tells us a lawyer for former President Trump's been ordered to testify about the classified documents seized from Mar-a-Lago.
It's a really significant development.
Former federal prosecutor Harry Littman.
It could be absolutely devastating evidence of Trump's guilt of obstructing the investigation into the return of the classified documents.
It could also be a prism into what Trump said behind the scenes.
It was a Cinderella send-off. The Princeton Tigers left New Jersey heading to their Sweet 16.
This is Downtown Dade. How would you like to be able to promote yourself, your business, or someone else's business for less than the cost of one 60-second commercial on many Tampa Bay radio stations? Here's the deal. You can have your own 1-hour radio program on the TAN Talk Network for less than the cost of one 60-second announcement on many Tampa Bay stations. Your program will be on 2 Tampa Bay radio stations and will cover 4 million people in Florida, plus worldwide on the internet in both audio and video. And you'll have a web link for your business on the TAN Talk 1340 website. We provide the producer, the state-of-the-art equipment, free production of commercials, and much more. Check it out today. Call Lola O'Brien, the Irish Hawaiian, at 727-510-7622. That's 510-7622. Call Lola O'Brien now, 727-510-7622. Call now and your 1-hour radio program can start tomorrow. Call 510-7622 for Lola O'Brien, the Irish Hawaiian, at the TAN Talk Radio Network.
This is the radio program Spectrum 360. This is Mark Skogman
and TK Weeks,
host of Spectrum 360 on the 6 stations of the TAN Talk Radio Network. Spectrum 360 is a talk radio program that features politics, the arts, and popular culture from a progressive point of view. Spectrum 360 broadcasts for 1 hour weekly on Monday nights at 11 p.m. Eastern Time and anytime via webcast at Spectrum360media.com. Remember, Spectrum 360, news, politics, and arts from a creative and progressive point of view.
Enough is enough. And if you've heard enough of the conservative right-wing agenda that overwhelms the Tampa Bay AM radio band, won't you join me, Ed Golly,
and me, Joe Reinhardt, every Thursday morning at 10 a.m. for The Voice of Reason.
No spin, no alternative facts.
Just refreshing, straight talk concerning the events of the day.
Thursday, 10 a.m., right here on the TAN Talk Radio Network.
Caregivers find the support they need on Connecting Caregivers Radio with Linda Burhans, the gal who cares for the caregiver. Heard every Friday from 1 to 2 p.m., Linda and her caring and knowledgeable guests will bring you education, information, and